Yay! And we are live! Hi, guys! Hello, everyone! Welcome to another episode of Happily Ever After. Today, I'm here with the amazing Heider. Sorry, Heider Rose. I'm so sorry. It's like, I was just training her first name before we start, and got blank when we started. Hi there. Hey there, Hose.
Heiderose.
Hi there, Hose. Yes. Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to be here to be, chatting a little bit more about tools to make your relationship work. And well, for us to start, I would love you to just talk a little bit about yourself for the people here who don't know you. What would you like to tell them about you? And probably let us know, like, how did you find access consciousness and relationships done different tools?
So, my name is Heiderose Scheerer. I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator in Relationships Then Different Certified Facilitator. And I've been into holistic medicine for more than 25 years. I have my own practice here in Vaihingen an der Enns in Germany. And I used to do, and I still am doing, I have been doing a lot of somatic psychotherapy. So that is psychotherapy that includes your body and your nervous system, because this is where we actually store things. And I've always been wondering, how does it get any easier? How does it get quicker and longer lasting? And so I found different modalities. I looked into matrix energetics and quantum entrainment. And then through all of this, I met people who were doing access consciousness, and they would just tell me about, I had my bars run, I feel so great. And I thought, well, I must have lost my English, because that doesn't make any sense to me to run bars, And I just kept on asking. And so I heard so many wonderful things about this modality that I started to invite facilitators here to Germany to facilitate classes, and was more and more intrigued about these tools. A lot of them I already knew from other modalities. And then there were others that were like 180 degrees turned upside down to what I knew, what I learned. And when I tried these for myself, and also for my clients, like on one-on-one sessions or family therapy or couple therapy, very often really it created a quantum leap, and I was thrilled. So I took more and more classes and finally became a facilitator myself. And I have had so much fun and joy seeing how people could get breakthroughs they haven't had with any other modality. And now you might wonder, what is this weird thing that's called access consciousness? It is actually a modality where all the tools are meant to get you to acknowledge that you know, and that you know what you know. So when we're born as tiny little babies, we know everything about us, and we have such great awareness, and we don't have judgment about anything. We know what we like. And if we do, the entire room notices, and we know what we don't like. And then the entire neighborhood knows. So, and then while we grow up in the culture we grow up, we learn that some things are great and others aren't. That there is a difference, that we do not get the care or whatever we require whenever we need it, but that sometimes we have to do something, or we have to be something in order to get that, and we're not allowed to be other things. And so we chop off parts and pieces of ourselves when we're very little, which then again shapes the way we interact with our bodies, with other people, and even with nature.
Wow, this is so cool. Like I loved what you said right now at the ending about how much like we kind of cut ourselves off and how that impacts the way we our relationships with everything. Because like in case you guys haven't noticed, like we are in relationships all the time. We do have a relationship with our body. We do have a relationship not only with other people, not only with lovers, family, people you work with, but you do have a relationship with yourself.
Or you don't.
You
And that
can
is really
disregard
the thing.
someone, right? You can ghost them. Maybe some of us at some point we chose to ghost us, right? Just
Yeah. Did you ever notice when you walk into a room how you be? Like, just imagine for a second, you walk into a room where there's your family. So, how do you breathe? How is the tension or relaxation in your body? How do you behave? Or walk into a room filled with just friends that you know, people that you really care for, that you love. How is your body? How do you breathe? How do you feel? How, yeah, what do you do?
wow. Like just like you're talking about it, it's like I could see movie right in front of me of all like these places and situations, and sometimes how we do tend to change ourselves to fit in a certain group, and how we relate to let's say like your childhood friends, you may behave in a certain way. Your college friends, you might behave in another way in when than your family. Wow, like this is the big challenge, right? How do I behave so no one judges me or talks anything bad about me? And like in the end, there is like, but what would you like?
Exactly. And also, you can go even further. Imagine you come into a room with 10 strangers.
Yeah.
What do you do? How are you? How do you feel? How is the, yeah, how does your body feel? How do you breathe? And then if these 10 strangers are all men, how do you feel? If these 10 strangers are all women, is there any difference? If these 10 people are all kids, you notice how we change the way we are or how we behave or how we act very often about like this is the abandoning yourself depending on what we project onto people and what they require from us.
Wow. And you know what? Like one thing that I've noticed during the years, it's like all of these situations, some of them that you mentioned made me uncomfortable. Just imagining being me being like in this situation, etc. But during the years, every time I chose to work on the relationship with myself first, these other situations they would change.
Exactly.
Especially, yeah, especially when I was like choosing to be an allowance and not judge myself that much. Because you can notice like when you have like that big judgment about yourself, then you are in a in a group of people and you kind of afraid like they all know, I know they are talking about it, I know they know that I'm, I don't know, like a loser, let's say. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. And you have like this big scream on your forehead, like kind of projecting that judgment you have on you. So since we are talking about tools to make your relationships work, like because we all have judgments. I mean, we are all, most of us can be working on it, some don't. But
And
I know this is like can be like a hot topic on
yeah,
relationships.
what
What
you
would
just said that you have the huge screen with the judgments. And when we were tiny little babies, we did not have judgments. We knew what we liked and what we disliked. And then we received the judgments from everyone else. And very often we bought them and we made them ours. And now we run around projecting onto everybody that they behave like the people when we grew up. And so we adjust our behavior and we stop being ourselves. And what if we could be ourselves, really, no matter who is around us? And what if we would always allow ourselves to be ourselves and to just have an awareness of what is required? So there are so many tools to do. And what I love is actually really also go through the body. So many things are stored in our muscle memory, or our nervous system got hardwired in a way. And so very often we have this 8-lane highway directly into our amygdala, where our stress response is stored, like fight or flight or freeze. And we have a tiny path that goes to our prefrontal cortex that we would actually need to go into this awareness and into question. So what if we could really at any time just practice to have an awareness of our body? Just right now, just allow yourself to feel your feet. Did you even know where they were before I asked? Like, do you know how your body is feeling? How do your feet feel? How do your legs feel? How does your pelvis feel? Your torso, shoulders, arms and hands, your neck, your head. How does your breath go? And your body will reveal everything to you. It will give you hints way before you notice, like you breathe less deep, or you tense up in a certain area, and you could just check in. Hey, what is required here? And then you could tell someone who's with you what is required. Like, there are so many kinds of relationships. And if you have any relationship, no matter if it's your kids, your parents, your coworkers, your employees, or your clients, what if you could pretty much ask each other questions, like notice how many judgments we have, how many projections and expectations, and get an awareness. And then start to ask questions. Wow, what if this wasn't true? And what if we could ask ourselves and even the other person questions? So what is it that you require? What is it that I require and desire, and bring it on the table and ask the other person, what do you require and desire? And even if you have a conflict, like there is the 3 or 4 ages that you can say. Like, if you have something that's going on between you and someone else, very often we never learned how to negotiate about the way that our needs are being met. Like, our needs aren't negotiable, but the way they're being met, we could discuss. And very often we don't even do this because we learned no one cares. And this is what we project onto everyone else. And we have so many people around us that would actually love to contribute. But if we don't say what we like, they just can't. So bring it on the table. And also, if you have a conflict and you would like to clear it, just ask this person, hey, would you like to be helped? Would you like to be heard? Would you like to be held? And if you're in another kind of relationship, well, do you like to be humped? And then you discuss about, hey, what does that mean for me? How do I know that I'm being heard? Do I need someone to look me in the eye and hold me? Or do I just need someone that nods their head? Or do I need someone to ask me questions? What does it mean to be heard? When do I know? And you can also ask this your significant others or anyone you come into, you're in a relationship with, or you meet during your daily life. Or when you say, oh, I want to be helped. What does help mean for you? I go and do this for you, or I show you how to do this, or I'm there just being the space while you figure out how to do it. We are so different. We have so many different ways of handling things, and communication is such an important thing that hardly ever practiced.
I'm so happy that you brought this up. Like, especially now that I'm in my 30s, I'm starting to like really explore how much like communication is so important to me, and for my relationships, so I can have more clarity in like that question that you were talking about, what is required here. This is something I've been playing with dynamically, especially because I'm starting to learn what are my needs. Because, like we said in the beginning, I was ghosting me. I
Yes.
wasn't clear what do I require? Like, how do I feel seen? How do I feel loved? What do I require? So now I'm so glad that I'm starting to explore that. I know I still have like a pathway to go, but it's like I was like, oh, she's so aware, because this is something that has have been truly changing my life, and navigating this with the access consciousness tools. There's so much more like a ease and a relaxation, because it can be a little bit uncomfortable, just like starting to get to know yourself, be an allowance, be vulnerable, so you can like acknowledge what's going on. And I would say, dare to ask if you are with someone, or a lover or not, but what if you could communicate what you would like, what you believe is required, like just allow yourself to do this for you, and how much more ease we can be that for others. Because like as you said, I had a partner once, like I like multitasking, right? I can hear you talking and I can be doing gazillion things. He didn't like that. He's like, hey, can you stop everything and look at me while I'm talking? I was like, really, really. I would love to do like all these things at once. But as you said, that was so brilliant. Like we get, when we have this presence with us, it seems like it's more easy and gentle to be the same for other people.
Yes. And this is like what we need to get clear of, like when we not talk about family relationships, but like you look for a lover or a partner, or you even want to get married, that you look first, you need to know, what do I require? What is it that I would like my love to be like? What works for me and what doesn't? And then you look for a compatible partner. We think love conquers it all. No, it doesn't. Like after 25 years of me um, working with people and all their things, no, love does not conquer it all. You need to be compatible. And most people don't look for compatibility. And compatibility is actually not this, oh God, but this. So when it's great for you, what your partner naturally is, and when you are a contribution with what you naturally be, when you're a contribution for your partner and you do not have to twist and turn. Otherwise, when you're not compatible, it takes so much work. And now maybe you are already into a relationship several years and you might have kids or whatever, or you might really love this person so dearly and you notice, oh my gosh, we're not compatible. You can still do a lot of things. You don't have to leave the relationship yet. It requires a lot of work. And here, there are a lot of other tools that come in. Like you could really practice the 5 elements of intimacy. That's honor, trust, allowance, vulnerability, and gratitude. And you could actually make time. And of course, these tools also work great if you are compatible. Like you reserve this time per day, like 15 minutes a day, where you just look at each other, like you look each other in the eye and you talk about your day and you listen to hear and not to respond. And you ask each other questions where you tell them how grateful you are, what you like about them, what's a contribution, what you would miss if they weren't there. And you can tell them things that they could be or do that would make your life even greater, and not out of a necessity, I need you to do this for me, but wow, I am responsible for my needs and to fulfill them. This is how I usually do this, and here's where you could contribute.
Wow. This is, oh, I'm loving this conversation, definitely. And because I I can clearly see how your choices can, impact our relationships. So now that we have those tools, especially if any of you who are like listening to us now or in the future, if you have done a relationship different class, you get a beautiful manual, like filled with tools that you can use, including the 5 elements of intimacy that we were talking about, and you get to play with them. Like you can even choose one each day, I guess, just to see how that transforms your relationship somehow with you and anyone you'd like to have more ease with. That could be anyone. That could be a mother, a dad, a kid. And because like funny topic, when I found Access, I started doing all the money classes, business classes. I was like, I was willing to only look at this part of my life. In a relationship back then, I was like I got this. Like no need. Like I have a boyfriend. That's okay. Back then, I was like, that's okay. I have a boyfriend and don't need to look at it. The funny thing is, like the day that I chose, I was like, what if? Like, what if I allowed myself to play with those tools and see what this can create, and maybe have something greater? I don't know. Like I have to try it, right? I cannot say how much every area of my life have changed. Just was so funny because I've heard before, if you have something in your life where you're resisting to it, that's because this is going to bring like the boom change. And for me, that was relationships, because I was like, nah, I can date. That's okay. Like that's what I need. As long as I can find someone to kiss, I'll be fine.
Yep. And then you might have noticed that really everything is based on our relationship, the relationship with ourselves and with everyone, because we pretty much project onto everyone that they will treat us the way we were treated. And it's not even that we project this onto other people, but even we project this onto our idea of God or the universe or whatever. So if we as kids had to work hard to get something, this is what we will create, because our point of view creates our reality. Reality does not create our points of view. And something might have happened to us, some things occurred doubtlessly, yet the way we look at them and the way we deal with it and how we hardwired it into our system makes a huge difference. And we can actually change that. We can change the way things affect us. We can change things so that they do no longer affect us, that we can actually, instead of reacting, that we can choose and act. And we can also have a great relationship with anyone, depending on the time we spend with them or the distance. So find out what you require and desire, and let other people know, and ask them about what they need and require, and see if this is a match. And if it doesn't match so well, you might want to spend less time. And if this is wonderful and contributes to everyone, you might enjoy more time together.
Wow. And like space can be such a great tool that also have been learning more about this. Because I can be like the person who wants to solve everything right now. If you have any kind of conflict, I want to talk about it now. I want to solve it now. Please don't keep me waiting. But guess what? I found out recently not everybody's like me. Some people, I would say, especially men, they do require space. So that's something, and I would say because of my childhood, I could notice like if someone requires space, I would think like, oh, they don't like me anymore, they're going to leave me. So like that would trigger me so much, was like almost unbearable. And I had that since I started life, I guess, like because that was kept happening. But I would say, in with lovers, that would be more obvious because
Mhm.
I would tend to be more anxiously attached to them. So I was like, okay, what if I started to like, so I learned about this in a relationship then different, and I started to use it like being space, letting people have their space and respect and honor that and see what that could create. So yeah, that's also, I would say, that's also a tool. Be space, let people have their space that's required, and you don't need to judge. And you can use that space also to yourself. Like, and you get to know your needs. Okay, so what do I require? How can I contribute to myself to be okay? To not let my happiness depend on someone else, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And this is really a very important point that you're saying. Get to know yourself. Learn about all your traumas and triggers because you can heal them. You can really get it out of your system. There are so many different ways to do this. And learn about your attachment style. Learn about the other person's attachment style. Because we often walk around and we think, oh my God, we're such a mess. We're so screwed up and everyone else is perfect. No, they're not. They're just the same mess. And when one mess meets the other one, whoosh, things get messy. So if you get clear about yourself, who and what and where you are, then it's so much easier to get the dynamic, because very often when things don't go that well, you start to blame the other person. But it's, what if no one is to blame and no one is ever anyone's fault? And what if you're not wrong? And what if the other person isn't wrong? But here are situations. And if you take the time and you allow yourself to be really, really vulnerable, if you get really to the core of things and you manage to communicate it, very often things just dissolve. If you honor what's going on for yourself and for the other person, and if you trust that the other person usually wants to be in touch with you too, and then if you have the allowance that things can show up, whatever it is, and you know and you trust that everything you created, you can uncreate. Everything you become aware of, you can change. Then you might be super grateful for all the tools and for the work you put in, instead of reacting like you usually do, to really self-reflect and ask questions. And it's so funny how this entire conversation went totally different than I originally thought about. Like I was gonna give a lot of tools or ask questions, like really go get together and ask each other questions. This is really like, if you want to be happily ever after, because it's the thing, oh, you meet and then you get into the relationship, and what does it take to keep it alive? And this is actually really the question you can ask each other. What do you require to feel appreciated, to feel loved? What can I be and do for you? When can you be and do for me? And you reserve your time to sit down together or to go for a walk or to do whatever. And you talk about this, asking questions and listening. And there are even card games that give you random questions to ask you might not even had the idea to ask. So take time with each other, listen to each other, and tell them the appreciation that you have might be an important ingredient in being happily ever after.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. Oh, this was so amazing. Before we go, I would love to ask you, like, is there any tool you've been playing a lot recently that you would recommend to everyone who's watching us, like something they can play with maybe today or how long they want to like, but there is like, because I know I have like the two of the moment thing. So like each week I'm like OCD with the two. So yeah, do you have one right now?
So one of the things is that you, for instance, you talked about the judgment that you have about yourself. And usually judgment, this it wasn't your judgment. You bought it from someone. Yeah, you got it from someone. So, and judgment is completely arbitrary. It's just something someone ever said how you should be or you shouldn't be. So, what if everything that someone ever said to you, or when you judge yourself, you just go, wow, interesting point of view. I have this point of view, because everything is just a point of view. And when you step to the side or forward or backwards or whatever, up, down, you have a different point of view. You have a different perspective on it. This is one of the things that you could very well use in about your judgments. And the other thing that I love so very much is, who does this belong to?
Yeah, we
Because
even have an app for that.
yes, because I was not aware how aware I was. I knew I was aware, but to what degree, that's just, it keeps on unraveling. So very often what goes on with you is actually something the other person has going on for them, which could help you if you just do not judge what's going on or what's coming up. You could actually really talk about it, or don't talk it. Yeah, like you could play with the tools, because very often, as you said, oh my God, you need to talk because you cannot stand the other person not talking about it, because you project onto them that they're going to leave you. So take the time, whatever, meditate or do some, feel your body, just breathe, do something, and notice what it is that you require, so you can actually let someone know and give them the space, give you the space. And sometimes by just using the tools, your energy field changes. That then again, something completely different is possible. So, who does this belong to? Is one of the, oh my God, you could make an entire class about that. So,
Yeah.
so many tools. If you would like to hear more about it, there is so much free stuff on YouTube or on Facebook. And then there are also amazing classes about relationships done different, and 5 elements of intimacy, and a lot of other amazing tools. And the first and most important is breathe, feel your body, check in with your body several times a day. This doesn't cost a penny, and you can do it anywhere and everywhere, and your body will always tell you when something goes off.
Yeah, I mean, have your own back.
Yes.
Have your own back. And oh, thanks so much for this. Like, who does this belong to? To is one of the first tools we get introduced to in a bars class, for example. And well, it never gets old, right? Like, it
No.
never gets old. We cannot get enough of it. So, thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you so much, Izzy.
I loved our conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And if people want to find you, would you like to give them where do they find you? If they want to have a class with you or know more about you and your work?
I do have a homepage, and part of it is actually in English, but most of it is in German. And I'm also on the Access Consciousness website. So you could just type in my name, Heiderose Scheerer, and praxis-heiderose-scherer.de for the people who speak German. And I have parts of it like for the relationships, then different classes, or for my dolphin safaris, I also have stuff in English, but most of what I offer is in German.
That's amazing. Yay. And well, what would it take for us to have our happily ever after, right? With
Yes.
ourselves. With ourselves. Yay. And that's it,
Awesome.
guys. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank,
for all your contribution in your talk.
thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.